טוב, אנחנו נמשיך. תודה רבה, פרופסור יולי תמיר. וכהמשך ישיר מאוד, אנחנו נעבור הלאה, אבל נשאר בעצם עם אותה אמירה. יולי תמיר לא הייתה כאן איתנו אתמול, אבל אתמול הדברים שנאמרו על תפקיד המוזיאונים, היה ברוח הזאת, וזה היה המשך ישיר בלי שהיית כאן. ואנחנו פונים להמשך. מה עושה מוזיאון שהוא מוזיאון גדול, לאומי, בינלאומי, אנציקלופדיסטי, אוניברסלי, שאלפי תיירים מגיעים אליו יום יום, מה הוא עושה לטובת אנשי העיר שלו, הארץ שלו? שאלה שאנחנו שואלים את עצמנו במוזיאון ישראל כמעט כל יום, איפה המשפחות הירושלמיות, איפה התלמידים, איפה מערכת החינוך, מה אנחנו עושים כדי שירגישו שהמוזיאון הוא גם הבית שלהם, שהוא מייצג אותם על כל מגוון התרבויות שמהם הם באים. אז השאלות האלה מסתבר, הקטנות פה בירושלים ובישראל, מטרידות גם את מוזיאון המטרופוליטן לאומנות בניו יורק, שאלות מאוד דומות, והרקע להרצאה הבאה הוא באמת אותו רקע של שאלה איך אנחנו רואים את האנשים עצמם. אני שמחה מאוד להזמין את גברת דונה וויליאמס, מנהלת קשרי קהל במוזיאון המטרופוליטן לאומנות ניו יורק. I'm very happy to invite Ms. Donna Williams, who is the Chief Audience Development Officer at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Her mission is to increase awareness of programs and collections at the museum and to create ongoing relationship between the Met and many diverse communities. Please welcome Donna Williams, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I am really very thrilled. I met Tali about 1.5 years ago, and she invited me to come back. I'm so excited to be back in Israel. I've had the best time, and I'm going to go all over the place just to see the beauty of your country. So thank you very much for letting me come. I wanted to very, very quickly actually talk about some of the things that I do at the museum and why we do what we do. Very, very quickly, I'll just tell you the facts about the Met. The Met is 2 million square feet. We have over 2 million works of art. We have 6.2 million visitors a year. And we are a very big institution, 3,000 employees. However, it's like a city, but we all work together. And I think that's the key with any museum. We all are a team, no matter how large you are. So as she mentioned, the goals of what we do and what I do as Chief Audience Development Officer at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Someone asked me yesterday, well, why do you do this? Is it just because you want to have people come in the door? And I'm like, well, that's part of it. But one of the best parts is that we want everyone to feel welcomed at our museum. We want them to feel part of the museum family. We want them to come back again over and over again so that they can make sure that the museum is part of their life. So yes, indeed, we want them to come through, but we want to have an experience with them. We want to have a relationship. We want to build something together. And so therefore, we have these goals. One, of course, is to increase the awareness of our collection, because a lot of people just see the big building, and they're like, well, do I belong here? Do I fit in? Do I know enough? And we're saying, why, of course you belong here. And we can learn about each other. We can learn about each other's cultures. We can respect who we are. And we are very lucky in our collection that everybody has something in the museum to see. And then from there, you go to the next point to see other cultures and learn about other people. So art is such a magnet to making sure that we all understand and can appreciate each other. The other is to create relationships with the diverse communities. Relationship being the key word. We spend at least a year with every community that we can at the museum. New York City, have you been to New York City? Right, okay. It's one of the most diverse cities that there is. I mean, we have everyone there. We're very, very fortunate. I want the museum to look like a subway stop. Literally, everybody is welcomed at the Met. And so I work especially with the African American, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, South Asian, Native American, LGBT, American Muslim communities, our Jewish friends, and our Christian friends all together. So in doing that, I have to spend at least a year with each group building so that they trust me, they know what our motives are as a museum. They're not saying, well, what's the museum want for us? Why are they especially paying all this attention to us? We want them to know that we appreciate them and that they can help us. Because one of the important things about a museum is that it's a learning experience for everyone, including the staff, including our director. We all want to learn from each other. So it's not a one-way street. It's not that the museum is up here on the hill and everybody else come in. No, we together work to make the museum a better place. So that's why we work very closely with all the different communities. Diversifying our visitor and our membership, of course, comes through, and increased participation in our activities. So when I say that, I mean that we have so many great educational programs, as you do here. This museum is phenomenal. I just walk the halls and I'm just amazed by it, especially your wing, your youth wing. Wow. It's wonderful. But anyway, so we want to make sure that people participate in our programs and our activities, and that is, you can't do that with having mostly tourism. So I'd say at the Met, out of the 6.2 million visitors a year, 40% of those are tourists. 60% are national people that come, and from that, 30% are from the tri-state area. That's where I live, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Those are the people that's my bread and butter. I have to make sure that they're really involved in the museum because those are the people that will come back, will be part of the programs, will bring their families over and over again. So my mission really is to make sure that local community is involved in the museum. One of the ways that we do it is that we have an advisory committee. Our advisory committee are made up of all the different people that we work with, and we literally sit down twice a year with very big meetings with our director, our president, the curators, and the director talks to everyone in these communities about what the museum is doing, about what kind of activities we have, what kind of exhibitions we have, what's going on in the museum. And that contact is very important because then they start to feel like they're part of us. The other thing that I think is important is that we have to view art as a communal thing. It's not one museum, this museum, this museum. We are all together a part of culture. So we work with other institutions throughout the museum world. We work with the Studio Museum, El Museo de Barrio, the New York Historical Society, and you have so many here in Israel, especially in Jerusalem. But we work very closely together to see how we can make art, culture, part of the everyday life. The other thing that we work is very closely with our trustees, the staff, and the departments. When I first started this initiative, a lot of the staff were like, what do we need this for? We've got a lot of visitors. What are you doing? And so I really had to convince them, yes, but we need more. We need to be really a part of the life of New York City. So we work very closely with our staff, all the different departments, and many different organizations. The other thing that's important about this initiative, it is not only about bringing people in, but we work very closely with government affairs. My office is in public affairs. So in public affairs, we have visitor services, government affairs, communication, tourism, marketing, there's like 150 of us. And so I work very closely with each of the departments, but it's particularly with government affairs, because we are supported by the federal government, the national government, and the city. We are a private institution. We own the collection. However, we do get money from the city to help us with the lights. Can you imagine that building, 2 million square feet? They help us pay for the lights. They help us pay for the security. So we work very closely with the government, making sure they know what we're doing. And we keep them involved, and I'll show you a little bit about that later. Involvement in the community. I spend 40% of my time outside of the museum. I'm literally out there being a part of what they do. I make sure that I participate in different fairs or whatever it might be. I am there so that they know the museum is a part of who they are. And then, of course, when they come back in, we're like family. I have a family pass. This pass is really great, so when I do evaluations at the end to see how successful the initiative is, they're all coded, so that when people come back through the initiative, I know that it's because of their experience. We work very closely with special guests. I think it's important because a lot of people may not think of art as like part of their life. However, they may know some of these people that do think art is part of their life. And people say, oh, well, this is kind of, why are you doing that? I have sports figures. I work with the NBA. And I know a lot of basketball players, their mothers were art teachers. So what I do is I talk to them, I say, would you come and would you come do something with us? And they really want to because they think art is important as well. And so we bringing boys to the museum because they realize soccer is important, and if this soccer player likes it, maybe I'll like it too. Whatever, it doesn't matter what angle you have to use. Bring them in. Once they get in and you have the programming, then you can be successful keeping them. Of course, I know Mrs. Obama. She's really great. Another way that you reach out is doing it through the media. I think it's important to be in all the papers. So, of course, the Met is involved with the New York Times, the Post, all those papers. However, I'm in all the Chinese papers, I'm in all of the Latin papers, the Indian papers, because it's important to keep yourself out there in front of the public at all times. Advertising, again, is very important to us. We do it in all the different languages. And the other thing that we do is we have viewing and receptions. This is our opportunity to show them our collection. So we might have a group of people, let's say we're doing, this is the El Greco show and the Cubism show. So I want to make sure that they know what we have here. And what I do is, moving this over just a second. What I do is I have a reception, and at the reception is the director, the president, curators, mixing with the population, asking questions, they get to know each other, they get to see our collection, and the more and more they come, the more and more they feel familiar, and they're going to come again with their friends and family. That's the objectives. Lunar New Year we celebrate every year. It's very important in our community, but as you see the people here, they're mostly all government officials, and they take part in it. We have like the largest Lunar New Year celebration in all of New York. And one of the reasons is because in my group of the committee that I mentioned earlier, we have a group of about 7 people who work tirelessly. Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, all working together, figuring out how we're going to keep people to the museum. So this is one of the activities we have. We also have a group of our Native American friends that come and we have exhibitions, so we have something to show them. So besides seeing the great collection, they get to see something that they have that's very special to them. I remember when I was trying to get our Native American friends involved with the museum, it was really tough because I go everywhere. I'm trying to, figure out who to meet, who to see, who are the cultural leaders. And I wasn't getting anywhere. No one was paying attention to me. I was like, what? Why is that? So I finally figured out maybe I'm doing something wrong. Let me see what to do. So I talked to some of my friends and they said, well, have you gotten permission? You actually kind of need permission for people to become involved. And I'm like, permission? No. So I had to go to Alaska. They were having a tribal meeting in Alaska, and I had to talk to the chiefs from all the different nations and tell them about what the museum is doing, what we're trying to achieve. And they said, oh, okay. Next thing I know, they're all at the museum. It was great. I had Sitting Bull's great-granddaughter at my event. Oh, you might not know Sitting Bull, yeah? Okay. Anyway, so this is one of the receptions that we had. China Looking Through the Glass. It's a wonderful exhibition. It's going on right now. In fact, we have an exhibition coming up on Jerusalem. It's going to be opening in 2016. We're very fortunate that the Israeli Museum has given us some loans from the galleries, and we're very appreciative of it. We can't wait. In fact, I'm actually here to kind of see what it looks like so that when I get back, we'll have it all ready. Again, we involve our curators in everything that we do. They're part of our team. This is a great exhibition, I hope you see. The other thing that's important for us is that we celebrate different holidays, different special events for the different communities. Black History Month, we have something, as I mentioned, for Lunar New Year. We have Diwali, which is for the South Asian community. We want them to know that the Met respects and wants to be a part of what they do in their everyday life. And so we celebrate it at the museum. This was a really controversial one we had about racism in the arts. You've got to be outside the box, right? So we are. Women's History Month, very important to us. We have a lot of women artists at the museum. We want people to know about it, and so we celebrate it. some of the different leaders that we've had in the community. LGBT post-Pride, really important to us as well. We have different events. We work with a group of about 10 organizations that deal with the LGBT community, and they help us decide what we're going to do, and it works out very successfully. At this event, we had over 2,000 people. Work very closely with veterans. I noticed the other day, I was walking through your galleries, and you also work a lot with your armed services. It's really fantastic. It's so important. Then we work with teens at the Met. Teens are, of course, I think you heard the lecture, Jasper. Where's Jasper? Yes, Jasper. We had a great time with our teens. We do many programs with them. We have a teens internship program. We do great things, and this is one of the events that we have every 6 months. This is one of the big ones with 4,000 teenagers. They kind of take over the museum, and it's really lots of fun, as you can see. I think it's really important also that the museum is involved in diversity, that we understand the different communities as well. So what I also do is I have a staff awareness day with our staff, and we talk about the different cultures together, because how can you be welcoming if you really don't know the people that you're dealing with? And so we have people from the communities talk to us, and we can ask questions so that we feel relaxed, and when they come to the museum, they really feel good about the visitors, and the visitors feel good about us. These are some of the activities. So one of the other good things about working where I work is that I have a gala every other year. When I first started the initiative, I thought it was very important for the museum to believe in it. And in believing in it means that you have to put your money where your mouth is. So I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I need a budget of this, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, okay, great. However, I want to give back, because a lot of people think of the communities as just as taking, but they're giving as well. And so we have a lot of new donors because we have dealt with all these different communities, and they're being able to be our new donors, our new members, and so forth. But then we have a gala where we are able to give back the money to the museum. So literally, for 2 years in a row, I've gotten money, of course, from my budget. Thank you, my director, Thomas Campbell. However, I'm able to give him back the money at the end. So it does help a lot, because as we know, as fundraisers know, you always are looking for ways to make those books work. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Robert De Niro, Samuel Jackson. As I said, you'd be surprised. Okay, I have to tell you a quick story, and I know my timekeeper. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay. Oh, okay. So at this event here, one of the things that I do is I ride the bus a lot in New York City. So I'm on the bus. I don't know if you know Cicely Tyson. She's an American star, big star. And I'm talking on the bus, and I ran in, and I said, oh, I recognized her. I said, oh, hello, Mrs. Tyson, how are you? She said, oh, hello, didn't want to talk to me. She's a movie star. And then after a while, I said, well, I work across the street at the Met. She says, the Met is my favorite place. I'm like, really? She said, yes. She said, anytime you need any, let me know. Okay, so I got her to do some free advertising for us. She introduced one of the exhibitions for us. So you never know who you meet who can help you. And it was wonderful. So luckily, some of these people here are very involved with the arts, and they love the Met. This is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. As I said, we celebrate all the different months. All the different communities have a chance to celebrate at the Met. This is from the Pacific Islands in Japan. A Korean, and this is a wonderful shadow puppet show. In our Lunar New Year, I asked Sesame Street, Sesame Street, right? Yeah. Okay, so I said, we're having this big Lunar New Year celebration. I'm wondering if you can help us. I'm thinking $, $. And they were like, sure, we can do a program in Chinese so that we can teach your students how to speak. Fabulous. I mean, we didn't have enough room to keep the kids in. We had to do 2 performances of it, and now they come every year. These are our dragons going up our stairs. And this is the Senses of Springtime, this celebrating India. We did a Bollywood workshop. Outside the box, it's okay. This is Diwali, our Native American story, as well as our cowboy story. Fiesta. I'm going pretty fast, but I know I have to. These are the different awards. It's important to be recognized for your work, and it actually has credence so that the community knows that, you know, you really are doing a good job. So you can't take that lightly, and so we don't. The other groups I work with, I have 3 more things to talk about. One is Spectrum. Spectrum is our post-college group, and these are the young professionals. Jasper, what year am I in? I don't know. Where's Jasper? Oh, okay. So these are our post-college group and our young professionals. So they're just, you know, beginning to get into the money and all that good stuff, but they also have so many options. So why would they choose a museum? We've got to make it interesting so they want to come to our museum. So what I do again is I have a group of that generation who actually think of different ways to bring the museum to them. So this is one of called Trivia Night. It's Are You Smarter Than a Curator? What they did was they got together groups from different museums around the city, also different, because trivia is very big in New York City. And they got together, they formed teams, you know, and when they have these teams, they have questions that we answer. It's one of the biggest highlights of the museum. They love it. This is Let's Get Digital. We have a garden, the Cloisters, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful place, and we have hops there. So one of my committee members thought, okay, what can we do with all these hops? We can make beer. So we're working on the contract to make our own beer. It's okay because we have the hops, we have the gardens, and we can celebrate it. Why back away from it? The other group is the college group at the Met. This is also very important. When you start to think, we have education programs from 5 to 18 years old that are terrific, fantastic. However, when they get to college again, they have all these options. So I can do this, and of course they're like in groups. What we do is we have a committee of 25 young students from all the different colleges. They get together and figure out how they're going to make the museum relevant to them. I say that because it's important. I'm not of that generation. I don't think the same way. I don't speak the same way, but I have people that do. They then take over the museum. They work with the curators. For instance, if they have an event, they do their own guided tours. They hand a paper to the curators look at it, they approve it, and so they're able to then walk through the galleries with the students. These are some of the different events. We had a toga party when we opened up the Greek and Roman galleries. Very interesting. The subway, they had all these sheets on, and people were like, what are these kids doing? Where are they going? Coming to the museum, because they were in their togas. We have different events. As you can see, this is the lineup of college kids coming into the museum that night. They take over. This is the one we had more recently on China. This is one of our students giving the tour. So literally there's no adults. I kind of stay in the background. I try to be like invisible as much as I can. Don't burn down my building, please. But they're really respectful. They are so excited. They feel that they have a special advantage of being at the museum. This is my museum. The other day we had the China Gallery. They're like, this is our gal. So they are willing and able and waiting for the opportunity for us to give them the keys. And that's what we're going to do at the Met. These are the college group, as I said, 25 students. They did a big thing with Instagram, Facebook, and all the different new things that they do. And they had a chance to do it on board, so we had over 600,000 posts that night. We have workshops, so we work with different groups, so they're not only viewing, having the reception, but they're making stuff, so they have mementos to take home with them. This is college kids. We have the artists come and talk to the students that night. One of the other things that I think is very important is our mentoring program. You can't really have, to me, a museum that's one-dimensional. You've got to have different cultures together to make your museum great. One point of view, we want to have many points of view. And I wasn't seeing that in the museum world as far as staff was concerned, trustees. It kind of looked very Caucasian. I'm like, no. So we started a mentoring program to make sure that these diverse communities had a chance to be a part of the population. So they apply for it with all the other interns. Then we have a special person who is a member of staff who guides them along the way, gives them information, helps them, and there are references for them. because when they leave college, now they have to get the job. So we have someone from the museum who's really with them the whole way through. So out of our program, 90% of these students found jobs and who are diverse. So it's very important for us. We feel very strongly about it, and we can't wait to do more. And we're done. So thank you very much. Thank you.